What is up, guys? Welcome back to Wrestling Crossroads. As always, I'm one half your dynamic duo, Twisted alongside Brother Pyro.
What's up, y'all?
And we are recapping NXT Stand
and Deliver.
What did you think overall of this show?
It was a really solid show. I think it. Sorry.
Dying there.
I'm trying not to. I apologize. Overall, a really good show. I think it really helped set the pace and the mood for what this weekend is, being the biggest weekend in pro wrestling / sports entertainment.
Okay. So, do you want to get us started, or you want me to?
So, before I get us, started in terms of matches, I want to talk about our hosts. Metaphor.
Yes.
They had this opening video package where each one of them portrayed somebody different within the feuds going on.
Mm-hmm.
Helped recap the fans on
what was going on.
This is what's going on. This is how we got here. Let's talk about, this match, that match.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a lot of what we do here, a lot of what guys on Busted Open or other wrestling podcasts do with their show. They helped you understand the storylines
a little bit more.
And the setup to the show.
Yeah.
And I think that was overall one hell of a segment.
Yes, that was.
It was really well put together, and I know you and I were both really iffy on Metaphor's hosting.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Yes,
I think they should host again.
I would say,
unlike in years past, they did a really good job of not making the show about them.
Yeah.
Very minimally, I think we saw them for that opening segment. They came out again later to be like, "Hey, this is our attendance record."
Yeah, which was
thanks
pretty big for NXT.
Pretty much thanks for showing up, and then that was really all you saw, and I think that was really good.
That was awesome. They came out right before the main event, announced, "Hey, we're gonna get right into the main event right after we just kind of tell you guys, how proud we are about how far NXT has come.
This is, let's review these matches. Mm-hmm. How do y'all feel? Got the crowd really engaged
for that last match, and the last time that we saw somebody from NXT kind of hosting a big one like this was last year when Pretty Deadly did it, and you even said it. We saw them on our screens every end of every match.
And honestly, I think it became a little much.
Yeah, it was definitely.
I appreciate, they did a decent job hosting last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Metaphor really took that hosting job of, all right, just because we are the host doesn't mean the spotlight has to be on us. The fans are here, the people are tuning in, not for us, but
for the matches.
For this card that we have.
Yeah, definitely.
And overall,
I think they were awesome.
Yes. Opening up the show, though, match-wise, you have the Wolf Dogs, Braun Breaker, and Baron Corbin.
Yes.
Defending their NXT titles against Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Yes.
There was a thing that you pointed out on our podcast.
Yes.
On our pre-show, specifically, that I wanted to correct.
Yes, I did correct that in the description that Axiom was not the first one to win the North American title. It was the NXT Heritage Cup.
And he won that under
a
different moniker.
Yes.
I just wanted to correct that because, not everybody reads the descriptions and,
Yes, definitely.
So wanted to, clear that fact check because you would do the same thing for me.
Oh, definitely.
You have done the same thing to me.
Mm-hmm. Even mid-discussion, yes.
Exactly. So, again, making sure all our ducks are in a row so that way, we don't get in trouble with fans.
Yes, definitely. So take us into this match.
A great match, a great clash of styles, You have the speed that is Frazier and Axiom. You had the power base that is Corbin and
Breaker.
I kind of tend to forget because he doesn't showcase it a lot, and I think this match you really did get a really strong showing at how explosive Corbin can be.
Yes, definitely.
Because you definitely saw him go deep into his bag of tricks, you know.
I mean, Nathan Frazier and Axiom were not an easy team for them to go up against. I personally think...
Again, they had that speed advantage, and I think that worked out in their favor for a good chunk of this match. Really honestly, I think, you know... And again, I think just that contrast in styles, I think that's why, you know, they say if you want a good match, you pair the opposites.
Yes.
You pair your giants with your littles. You pair your brawlers with your technicians.
Yes, definitely.
Because you're going to get the best product out of everybody. Because now it's an adapt and overcome situation.
Yes, whereas if you do like a brawler against a brawler, it's I know how to beat you.
I know.
It's just about when I'm going to.
And then it's just a stalemate.
Yeah.
Versus again here it's all right. How do I counteract this?
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
Like I can't keep up. How do I? Now I got to switch up my game plan.
Now I gotta slow the pace of this match.
And honestly, I'm gonna say it this way: Corbin really did a good job of that this match.
He did.
And being the vet, he was able to, you know, take control a little bit better than Braun in terms of, all right, we came in with a game plan, now we have to adjust on the fly.
Yes, definitely.
Because obviously, you know, you're going into a big title match. You're going to want to watch your opponent look for, you know, the little quirks that you can capitalize on. And I think, again, both of them kind of did their homework.
And I think that with Corbin kind of leading this match, majority of it kind of shows Braun like, hey, when you get into a match like this is how you kind of adapt, because Corbin has kind of taken on that role of I'm going to mentor you and I'm going to make sure that when you come up to the main roster, you don't flop on your face like I did.
Exactly. Like, I want you to have the teachings and the mentorship that I wish I had.
Yeah. I didn't at the time, I would say. Because he did get it a way later in his career.
But he got it at a point where, all right, like, he got it at a point where it was just a little too late.
Yeah, especially.
He definitely got it at a point in his career where we, the fans, definitely stopped caring about him. He had already been through so many gimmicks. It was like, dude, what? Like, no.
At this point, just out the door. Like, we did not care.
And I think this gives him that sense of, all right, let me help this next generation coming up, but also let me find life within myself in this business if I still can.
Yep, definitely. All right, take us into the closing moments.
Closing moments, a lot of, again, just a lot of back and forth, a lot of real, like, no one-sided,
yeah.
And I think that was, again, really well put together. Towards the end, you know, you got to see the explosiveness of Corbin, the explosiveness of Braun. They finally start taking care of that advantage, and inevitably it leads them to the win, retaining their titles. Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin, the Wolf Dogs remain up top the NXT Tag Division.
Okay.
And I'm excited to see, you know, who's up next.
Who would you pick in the NXT tag team division right now to kind of step up to them?
See, I wish I had an answer for that, because NXT doesn't even know who on their division. They've been pulling in guys from, you know, the main roster. Because for part of this tournament, you know, we got to see LWO, the OC, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, one that I could say that I think will really catch your eye. I don't remember if they were in the tournament, so correct me if I am wrong.
I can look right now.
But I'd like to see a returning Gallus kind of go against them.
In the.
I can't remember if they were in the tournament personally, because I have been a little out of the loop when it comes to NXT as of right now. But I have been keeping up with bits and pieces of this recent tournament, so I would definitely like to see Gallus kind of go for these titles one-on-one.
So it was OTM, LWO. Give me a second, because I'm still looking
So OTM, LWO, we know the OC.
Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
I am unsure of the rest, but I know it wasn't a very big bracket.
No, it wasn't, because it was 6 teams transitioned into...
Okay, well, while you're looking, we can jump into the next match.
Go ahead.
Once you find that out, let me know. Next match on the card was the NXT North American Championship. Oba Femi defended against Josh Briggs and Dijak. Now, with this being a triple threat match, a lot of times there is no countouts, there is no rope breaks, there is disqualifications, however, to a certain extent. We did actually see a rope break in this match, and I know you had called it out.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
I wasn't the only one, because Barrett, being on commentary, also pointed out.
Yes.
But
it was between Josh Briggs and Dijak, and he did say that normally in triple threat matches you don't have a rope break. However, it seems that they were using a different set of rules in this one. His exact words, or about his exact words. This match really showed the strength and the determination with these three men. Oba to kind of keep himself in that title picture. Dijak to say, I have been the workhorse and I deserve to have this. And Josh Briggs, more or less, I need to break out of my shell from being a tag team competitor for the entirety of my NXT career. I think Josh Briggs really did show up and show out. He was one of the majority men in the pinfalls. Not necessarily being the one being pinned, but to pin somebody. Oba really showed himself as somebody who is very strong, and we got to see that a lot in this match.
Oh, yeah. I think this was just a really great battle of 3 stupidly athletic big men.
Yes, and you don't normally see that very often. There are very few big men that we have on the main roster, Ivar being one of them. Keith Lee was a former one that could kind of move around a ring very easily. And these men are tall, but they're thinner. And it is nice that they can move like high flyers. Were you able to find that
yes,
tournament?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Let's jump back to that real quick.
So it was LWO,
yes.
Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro versus OTM, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom to hook on No Quarter Catch Club.
I don't know who that is.
And then Hank Walker and Tank Ledger versus Gallows and Anderson.
So Gallus wasn't a part of it.
No.
I believe one of them is out on injury, if not a couple
wouldn't
of them
surprise me.
out on injury.
Would not surprise me.
So again, I would like to see a returning Gallus.
You know what? I wouldn't mind it.
Okay. Going back into the North American Championship match. Closing moments, Dijak seems to have the upper hand. Seems that he's really going to put away Josh Briggs. Oba comes in and capitalizes on a fallen Josh Briggs, ultimately retaining his championship. Brother Pyro, if you would take us into the next match. I know you were really excited about one of the women in this match.
All right, so the next... Oh.
I know we forgot the grades. I was just gonna go through them at the end of everything.
Okay, cool. So 6-woman tag match. It was Kiana James, Jacy Jane, and
Izzy Dame.
Thank you versus Kaylani Jordan, Fallon Henley, and the pride of Chase U, Thea Hail. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying not to be super loud because Baby Crossroads is sleeping upstairs.
Yes, he is.
And if I wake him up, y'all might hear some unaliving being done. You would 100%, and you know it.
Y'all wouldn't hear Brother Pyro on the podcast no more. Let's just say that.
Exactly. So, really great match. It was a really solid match. It took a little bit, to get into.
It took a bit,
at first, but like once it picked up. These women were firing on all cylinders.
Yes, they were.
And it was a great show of what women can do in the ring.
It also told a lot of stories on the personal rivalries we have going here. You know, Kiana James and Fallon Henley were once tag team champions.
They referred to that on...
fell out after losing the championship because of Kiana James cheating on, was it Josh Briggs?
Was it Josh Briggs?
Yeah, I believe it was Josh Briggs.
No, I thought it was the other one.
It wasn't Brooks Jensen. Because she would call him Briggsy. It was Josh Briggs.
I thought it was Jensen. Because Josh Briggs was just in the North American title match. And she was with the smaller one, so it was Jensen.
Okay. So it was Jensen. You have, you know, the story, obviously, that led us here. Thea Hail, Jacy Jane. So there was a lot that, you know, told stories in this match. I'll let you get back to that.
Yeah. No, you got to see that one. You got to see the personal rivalry between Thea Hail and Jacy Jane. You know, I thought you were my friend. I really wasn't. Mm-hmm. I was just, you know... I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it together.
In your throat. Yeah, I get it.
But you really got to see a little bit more into that. Mm-hmm. I'm really glad they're doing something with Jacy because they haven't really done much with her.
Either person from Toxic Attraction since the breakup.
But my whole thing now is, where do these 6 women go from here? Because you have Izzy and Kaylani, who are really like
into this.
Those kind of like new to the industry.
Yeah.
So they still have a lot of room for growth.
Yeah.
But they also still have a lot to prove.
I don't know where you would go with the majority of these women. You know, I know that they're now, they had just announced, I believe after this match, that the women are now getting an NXT North American Championship.
And honestly, I think with how stacked that women's roster is, with how much you're trying to do, mm-hmm. I think it is honestly the right move, because there are so many women so many talented women on this roster, and they're getting lost. Because, like, we said it, Thea Hail mm-hmm. should be champion right now.
I agree.
Jacy Jane should be a lot more prominent and a lot more relevant than she is right now. Mm-hmm. Kiana James really should be doing a lot more unique. Fallon Henley is at a point where she can be considered a vet in that NXT locker room.
Yes.
And for the longest time, she really was just another face in her trio. Mm-hmm. She was really more the valet, the manager role.
Yes, and
now you're giving her the chance to, you know, take her career into her own hands. Mm-hmm. What do?
I think that, you know, coming into this, the North American Championship for the women, I think you do a whole
I believe they said it was going to be I believe Ava did state it was going to be a tournament.
I would say tournament, or another thing I would like to say, if she had not specified, is a nice gauntlet match. I think the women can do it. Majority of the time you see a gauntlet match with the men. I think the women can do it. I think you have a stacked enough roster at the moment that you can do a nice gauntlet. So take us into the closing moments of this match.
Going into the closing moments, you see, you know, you see a lot of tag in and out. You got to see everybody have their little, like, moment for the spot. Really competitors being Izzy Dade and Thea Hail. You see a small back and forth. You then see, you know, after several failed attempts to lock it in, Thea finally locks in a Kimura. Izzy taps almost immediately, picking up the win. Fallon Henley, Haylani Jordan, and Thea Hail.
Yep, that was absolutely beautiful. Going into the next match, we have the NXT Women's Championship. Lyra Valkyria takes on Roxanne Perez. Roxanne, as we had said in the kickoff on our pre-show, Roxanne wanted a singles chance at the title. She never lost. The last time she was granted a singles chance, it ended up turning into a triple threat match when Lola Vice turned in her Breakout Star tournament contract, kind of like a Money in the Bank match. I know, Brother Pyro, when we were talking about it, me and you had both said this match failed on so many things. There was lack of chemistry. These women did not work well in the ring together. Lyra Valkyria needs a lot of work if she's going to work with multiple people. And for her to have held the championship at all, even with the length of the reign that she did, is very, very strange. Because this woman, I am being 100% honest, and I don't like bashing any of the women in the industry because they do
that they haven't announced
amazing.
How they're going to determine that first champion.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I don't like bashing any of the women in the industry. However, this match was completely dead. The crowd had absolutely no reaction. And there is not much I can nicely say about this.
No, I said it, this match, again, just them not really being able to hit their marks the way they want to.
No.
The crowd not being as invested. Hell, I even noticed commentary didn't seem as invested as they should have been.
No.
And they're paid for this.
Exactly.
So you have to be doing something wrong when, your commentary team of Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, and Booker T, who, again, played the biggest hand in Roxanne's career,
yes,
aren't as tied or aren't as invested
into this
in
like
this
everybody
match
is.
as they should be. And it hurts because both women are extremely talented. And I
think
know
Lyra
both women
needs a little bit of work, though.
And I know both women can really deliver because we've seen it. Roxanne needs to figure out her footing as a heel.
She does.
And Lyra definitely needs some tightening of the screws herself in a lot of aspects. And my biggest thing is, as a babyface, what is your job?
To get the crowd on your side.
One of the things I heard Triple H say after night 1 of Mania. Was it him? I know it was during the perfect. Your job. And yeah, it wasn't, because he was talking about, guys like Sammy and guys like Cody and Owens, about how they're really good at doing this one thing that makes you stand out as a pro wrestler and a sports entertainer. It's not the style, it's not, you being able to put on a good match, because that'll come with whatever.
It'll come with the time.
It'll come with the time, it'll come with the territory, it'll come with the story, whatever, it'll come with the opponent. Nobody's gonna care about the story you're trying to tell in that ring. Nobody's gonna care about those moves if you're not able to pull emotion from the crowd.
And you've even said it when she cuts promos. She's a charisma vacuum.
She falls flat.
She really does. She needs a lot of work.
A charisma vacuum. There is no emotion. If you are my baby face, if you are my baby face, and you're trying to, you're my babyface champion, why do I care that you have that title? Why do I want you to keep that title? And that is something that I never got the answer to. When you're a heel,
she can't give you one.
When you're a heel, and I think this is something that Roxanne is really struggling in this transition with. She's still trying to talk like she is a face. And it's one of those, you're a bad guy, you're a heel. I'm not supposed to like you, I'm not supposed to feel for you. But every time she cuts her, I never lost my title. I deserve a chance. I keep getting screwed. That's definitely more a babyface type style of woe is me. This is why you should care.
I agree. I totally do. So, picking up the win and new NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. And, you know, even in the closing moments of this match, it was a lot to even watch. There was no way of necessarily, like, having anything good to end this match, I should say. So.
It was rough.
It was very, very rough. I think that was kind of more or less what I was looking for in a way. Brother Pyro, into the next match, please.
The NXT title, the Dawn versus Ilja Draganov.
The Dawn versus
the Tsar, Tony D'Angelo, challenging Ilja Draganov for the NXT title, the biggest prize on the NXT brand. The story going into this, we said it, commentary said it, everybody noticed. This, unlike most rivalries and unlike most title defenses, this one wasn't Ilja coming for you. The challenger came to him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that is not something you see often. Most members of that roster elect to avoid Ilja when they can. Tony said, nah, I want it.
You want to know?
I'm coming for it. And I don't think we've ever really seen somebody in Ilja's head
the way Tony was.
The way Tony D'Angelo was, and I lived for it.
I agree.
I absolutely lived for it. It was great. It was fun. You really gave them substance in this feud.
Yeah.
You really got to see a lot in this match and what this meant to both of them. Tony pulling. At one point during the match, you saw Stacks try to hand Tony those brass knuckles.
Yes.
And he debated it for a little bit. But then, and they referred to this on commentary as well. He needed to do this clean. He needed to prove to himself that he could do this clean. Because just like his feud with Ciampa a few years back.
Oh, yes, definitely.
He beat him clean. Tony beat him clean. How can I be the Don? And anybody that knows, like, the mafia, the Italian, family, the Don is the head guy in charge.
Yes.
He is that leader. He is the boss. But how can I be a true boss if I can't get the job done when I need to?
Yes.
And I think that tells you a lot about his character and who Tony D'Angelo is as a person. I gotta do this the right way to know that I can do this at all.
I agree.
Obviously, that wasn't gonna go without fight, without pushback from the champion Ilja. And when I tell you, these men really did give it their all, slugfest. This match definitely wasn't for the weak.
No. This was
You saw them really dive into their bag of tricks. Because, again, you're battling for the top prize. Why not get the draw? And I think both men did. And whether they like each other or hate each other after this match, I'll be damned if you don't see a newfound respect from each other for one another.
I would definitely like to see another rematch for this.
I would 100% love to see this again.
I would even go so far as to say, like, one of my favorite matches that I know NXT does, and they do beautifully, is 2 out of 3 falls.
Oh my god, yeah.
So definitely something that I'd like to see in that type of aspect. So, closing moments?
Closing moments. We got to see the HVAC, you saw Tony, hit him with his best shot. HVAC twice.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see what does he call it? The Moscow missile? Or Moscow torpedo?
Yes.
Or something like that?
Something like that.
Picking up the win, retaining the title, walking out of Philadelphia, still NXT champion, the Tsar, Ilja Draganov. Now, how close to done do you think this story really is?
I think, there's going to be a time where Ilja, I'd like to see it where Ilja says something to Stax about, hey, you tried getting him to cheat. Why don't you face me one-on-one? Maybe Ilja goes a little too far with Stax, maybe hurts him a bit more than we anticipated. Tony comes out and goes, all right, that's my boy. You and me again. And I'd like at that time for Tony to take it off.
So you came for a member of my family.
Yeah.
I gotta make this right.
Yeah. It's me and you one-on-one again. I want that title. Put the title on the line.
I gotta make this right.
Yeah. That's definitely the storyline I would go with. I'd love that.
And honestly,
do I know if that's exactly what they're going for?
With the rumor mill spitting right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have, them talking Ilja to the main roster soon. Triple H just announced over the weekend the return of the draft.
Yes.
And I can see that being the perfect time to give Ilja the call up. But
just kind of right after.
Before you give him that call up, you gotta have him drop that title.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I love seeing, the cross branding, you still need somebody
Their
to
main
represent.
title should not be on the main roster.
You need somebody to represent that show.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think he should ever vacate it, unless due to injury. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how vacating can work.
Mm-hmm.
Every so often, it works well. Like Asuka.
Yes.
Upon her call up, she had the longest undefeated streak
mm-hmm.
in WWE history at that point.
Yes, she did.
Or at least modern times, we'll say, because nothing will be at Andre's almost 8-year undefeated streak. Nothing's. But she was able to beat what was then Goldberg's record.
Yes, she was.
Goldberg still feels salty about that, by the way.
Mm-mm.
But besides the point, they called her up to the main roster. They were like, all right, you've run through my NXT roster. It's time for you to come up.
So I did look it up. Andre the Giant was undefeated for nearly 15 years.
Oh, yeah, my point is, nothing beats that. That's why I say modern times, Asuka has that pedestal.
Yes.
But, when they called her up, because, she had run through the NXT roster
mm-hmm.
a couple times.
Yes.
It was time to, relinquish and let go. So what did they do? They called her up. She remained dominant on the main roster. She went back to NXT and was like, all right, my time with this part of the company and my time with this title specifically
has come to an
end. I'm, it's not fair for me to be there
mm-hmm.
and, hold this, and you guys now don't have it, essentially. So she vacated that title, and I think in that kind of sense,
yes,
it worked. I'd hate to see it be due to injury. But if you're going to do it, you got to make it make sense.
Mm-hmm. I did want to look it up since we were talking about, longest undefeated streaks. I did want to look it up, and they do have 9 longest undefeated streaks. I'm not going to go into much detail with these. I'm just going to read the names and the numbers. You know how I like to do my stats.
Yep.
So they have on here an honorable mention, World Champion Wrestling was 83 weeks. It was Eric Bischoff. Goldberg at 461 days. He is number 9. So he ends this list.
Okay.
He does not begin it. Crimson was 470 days.
Okay.
Mr. Perfect was 596 days. Jade Cargill, in AEW at the time, was 816 days. Asuka, 914 days, as we just talked about her and her reign. The fabulous Moolah, roughly 1,002 days.
But it's still 100% screw her.
Roman Reigns, 1,294 days. Hulk Hogan, 1,474 days. And rounding out the top, The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak of 21-0 was 8,415 days undefeated.
That streak never should have ended.
I agree. But now we are done with that. Let's jump into our main event and get this kind of squared away. Our main event is best friends turned bitter enemies. Carmelo Hayes takes on Trick Williams after he has stabbed him in the back. Now, Carmelo Hayes believed that Trick Williams was trying to bite the hand that feeds him. He was trying to take Carmelo's spotlight, whereas Trick just wanted to be his own person and start to shine on his own. This match did tell a lot in the short time that it was, because this was not a very long match. You got to see that Trick isn't necessarily used to fighting people that are smaller than him, because you did kind of see him a bit wobbly in this match, unfortunately. If I remember correctly, the ref was taken out twice. This was, as Wade Barrett says it, the unluckiest ref all night.
I swear.
Closing moments of this match, because again, it was a very quick, bell-to-bell match. You got to see Carmelo Hayes get distracted a little bit and picking up the win, hopefully solidifying himself when coming to the main roster. Trick Williams beats Mello.
So, what do you think is next?
I think they get brought up with this draft. I think they go to... I personally would put them on separate brands. I know that's not looking like the case, but I personally would put them on separate brands and have them kind of go on their own for a while. I see the potential that Mello has. I definitely think that they're going to be pushing him for a title run sometime soon on the main roster. Trick, I think, will kind of be one of the top baby faces once he gets up to the main roster.
Oh, yeah.
So that does end out our NXT Stand and Deliver. Anything else you would like to say before I ask you for the grades?
I hope everybody enjoyed the show. This now marks episode 101 for the podcast. So thanks for helping us get there, y'all. Keep listening, and we'll keep providing the content.
All right. And our grades for the evening.
All right. So the opening segment was an A+. Tag title was an A.
Okay.
North American title was an A+. 6-woman tag was a B+. The women's title remains ungraded,
which is the first time in Wrestling Crossroads history.
B+ for the NXT title. Just because I feel like the wrong person went over.
Yes.
Trick Mello was an A, and overall grade for the show was a B.
All right. Well, that concludes everything from one to another. We will see you guys back for our WrestleMania Night 1 and 2 recap. And then we come back to them next month, correct? Or later this month?
Later this month, the 21st Dynasty.
All right, guys. We will see you then. Laters.